Hi everyone, welcome back to another live stream on Faraday Academy. This is Gwen. If you're new here, then this is another Vue.js live stream and you can access the code. It's all open source and that's in the link below. Usually all of the code for these is on my GitHub Gwen F, but this time because I have a couple repos under the same theme, so I I made a GitHub organization called Reasonable Productivity, and this particular one that I've been working on last stream and this stream is web front end. So it's a Vue.js and Nuxt application, and you can read a little bit about it in the README here. So today I'm going to fix some of the routes, which you can see the routes that I have laid out here. And yes, it is reasonable. Not overboard, just right in the middle. Yeah, so I'm going to fix some routes and work on the API calls from Vuex to the backend. The backend is also under this organization. And where's the backend? Here it is. So I have my front end server running. Oh, yeah. Is this, I don't know. This was just a random house green screen background that I picked. I'm planning on getting some better green screens, but there's only a couple. There's either fake looking bricks or a couple different house pics that I have so far. Yeah, so here's the API. It's a Python Django API, so I'm going to go ahead and run this. You can see I'm already in my virtual environment here. So I'm going to say python manage.py and then run server, just so I have my API running on port 8000. Oh good, this one's on 3000, just checking. All right, and then let me just real quick here move these on either side. That's where I like to have them. Hi Bello, how are you? No, these kittens, they ate so much food. I have no idea how they are still awake right now. They're 8 weeks, almost 8 weeks old, so they're about ready for adoption. I'm just having them for a few more days, and they should be asleep right now. So, okay, so now I have the front and back end running. The first thing I'm going to do real quick is this dark theme is bothering me a little bit, and it is actually, so the Vuetify config is in here instead of in a plugin folder like you would have it in a normal Vue.js application. So it's actually in the Nuxt config for Nuxt apps. So I'm just going to set the dark theme to false here and reset. Yes. Beautiful light theme. Okay, that's much better. Yeah, the menu bar is off, but I think I'll fix that in a later stream when I'm ready to deal with all the menu and stuff. Okay, so I have reasonable productivity. The next thing I want to do is get out of this. So last time we made this tasks page, and this time I'm actually going to make this into a folder because I want to have nested routes, and Nuxt handles routes automatically based off of the file names you have here. For example, so I have a tasks.vue file, so it also gives me a route automatically for tasks. But I want to have nested routes inside of that, so I'm going to have to make a tasks folder instead. So I'm going to make this tasks folder inside of pages, and then so my what do I call this? The keypad, the mouse clicker on my Mac broke, so I have this extra Bluetooth mouse that I'm using. Anyway, so I'm gonna drag this tasks.vue inside of the new tasks folder I created. By the way, let me know if I need to zoom in or anything, if you're having trouble seeing it. Okay, and now I have this tasks.vue file, which I'm going to rename to index.vue. because it's inside of tasks.vue now. Okay, and one more thing I need to do, because in my routes, I have /tasks, which, let me make sure that's still working. Good, it's still working because I made the folder tasks and put in index.vue inside. And now I'm going to need a nested route inside of tasks that's ID. So I'm going to make another folder inside of tasks, and this one, I think it's _ID, if I'm not mistaken. And then inside of here, I'm also going to have an index.vue file. And then I'm just going to test this out. So I'm going to put some basic template in here. And let's say div. And then I'm going to get the ID off of the route here. And you're going to see in a second. So I'm going to do, was it route? I think it was router, no, route.params.id. That might be right. Okay, so, oops, close that. All right. Nuxt has a lot of nice built-in features, but it does take a little bit of getting used to from regular Vue. So now I should be pulling that nested route, that /ID, off. So now, so tasks should still work. And now if I do a /ID, okay, oh, that's right. So it should be an ID will be something like 3. Okay, and then it shows the ID because I'm pulling that off the router, if that makes sense here. Okay, and eventually that will be displaying the individual task on that page, but it just doesn't do that yet. All right, so now that I fixed or cleaned up the routing a little bit, what was the next thing? Oh, right. So I want to be able to pull in real tasks. So in my store, I have this tasks file. And so locally right now, I'm able to add, edit, and remove tasks. I can't toggle them yet, but I'll do that in a second. So I can add, edit, remove tasks, and I need to be able, actually edit, I should make edit to, maybe I should combine edit and toggle. No, I'll leave toggle alone. But I also need actions, which is what I'm going to do right now, to make API calls to the backend. And now, if you were here last time, you remember that, so when Nuxt took me through those initial setup steps, they asked me if I wanted to install a couple things. One of them was Axios. So I have Axios available to me, and I'm going to use that for API calls. So I think I can just import Axios like I normally would. So let me try it. So import Axios from Axios. And now I should have access to Axios here. And first, let me make an action. Let's say get all tasks. And that will be a function. And then this will, I might want to mutate state from here, so I'll import the mutation. I don't need to take a payload, so that's the only parameter there. Okay, and now I want to make an Axios request to pull all of the tasks from the backend. So I'll do axios.get and then some API URL which I'll do in a second. And then I don't need a payload, and I don't think I need a header because it's only a JSON API. It may be import Axios from Axios/index. Okay. You know, I'm not exactly sure. Axios/index. Maybe it's a Nuxt thing. Yeah, I guess I'll find out in a second. So I need the API URL. So for right now, I'm actually going to make just a const at the beginning of the file, I guess. And I'll do const API URL equals http://localhost. It's running on, oh no, this is for Django REST API, it runs on port 8000. And then I think that's it. So, and now I can use API URL in the GET request. And I'm going to use backticks. Let me zoom in one. Make the sidebar smaller. Okay. So do axios.get and then first pass in the API URL, and then let's see, I'll have the forward slash here. So I think it should be tasks because I don't think I prefixed it with API there. Missing space before function parens. Oh, it wants me to have a space here. Okay. So let me go over to my API. Okay. And actually, let me stop this. And I want to have my API open as well, so I can look at the code if I want to. So let me just open that. Okay. And now I will run this again. So python manage.py run server. Okay, and my Django server is running again. And now I can just take a look at tasks, and in my URLs path. Okay, so it's just the default path, but it's nested inside of tasks. Okay, so if I call tasks, I should be able to get all tasks. We'll see if that's true. So this is the URL I should be able to use. And then let me set this equal to const tasks equals get all tasks. No. Undo. So in here, what comes back from Axios? Hi Elena, great to have you. Yeah, Nuxt, I'm really liking Nuxt so far. Const tasks. I feel like it handles a lot of the boilerplate stuff that I'm always setting up anyways. Okay, console.log. Yeah, tasks. I guess I'll just log out tasks. And, oh, I'm never calling this. So let me call it, let's see, when should I call this get all tasks? It should be on my tasks index page. So let me call it in a lifecycle hook. Let me put my lifecycle hook at the end of my script and say created, and then I need a space there, and I'm gonna call this.getAllTasks, which will call my action, and I'll just need to add map actions here. So I have access to my Vuex actions under my tasks namespace. Okay, and then get all tasks. And then here, let me import actions. So map actions. All right, so I think that's, oh wait, I put map action. It's map actions. Okay. And then in my created lifecycle hook, it should get all tasks and log them out. So I think because this is a nested route, it will still log them. No, I think I have to go back to the actual tasks route. Promise state pending. Oh, I have to make this async. That's right. So if I go back into my actions, I need to make this an async function so I can await this Axios request. So I don't just get a promise. Okay, and now I'm going to refresh one more time. And did I get anything? Oh, I got a network error. That's better than nothing. So let me see. Get. So it's getting an HTML. So I might have to set a header here. Yeah, so I think I'll have to set a header that I want JSON. Let's see, HTTP localhost 8000. Yes, I am using Vuetify. I'm using Vuetify, and I'm using the initial setup that, you know, Nuxt in the initial create Nuxt app asks you which, I guess, design framework you want to use. So I just said Vuetify. So that's why it set up this header and stuff initially for me, which I'll change later. Okay, so it does get tasks. I might need to put an ending / on it. Let me see. Response. Okay, it seemed to like that. Yeah, it seemed to just be the /, so go figure. Okay, so it's getting tasks back. Now I need to just make a mutation. And first I need state, so list. Okay, so this file is my tasks namespace in Vuex, so I thought I don't want to call it tasks.task. But now that I am mapping state here as list, it feels weird to just call it list, so maybe I do want to call this tasks. I guess I will. I'll rename that to tasks. Alright, so I need to find everywhere I'm using list, and I think that's it. Okay. And tasks. Okay. I think, yeah, now I have tasks here. So I'll get rid of my initial task and just leave it as an empty array for starters, because I'll populate it here. So I'll do, so I'll have to commit a mutation, and I don't have the mutation written yet. Add, remove, I guess I'll do set, set, and this will be state and tasks. Oops. Okay, and then because I'll be setting the tasks here, so I'll do state dot tasks equals tasks, and then up here I'll do commit and call this set method, and then pass it the tasks. Okay, And that should work because I already have tasks up here to edit. So let me see if all that works this time. Refresh. Okay, something is wrong again. What did I do? It's a network error, so it must be an error with the backend. But I'm getting a 200 from here. Let's see. Let me clear the network. Okay, why am I getting that back? If you can see it, it seems to be calling HTTP localhost 8000 tasks, so that's correct. Okay. I think actually on the back end, I think there's something in Django I need to set. Let me look it up. Yeah, that was weird. But go figure. Django cores. I should probably look how to do it in Django. No, I'm sure it's the same in Django REST framework versus Django. Cores in Django's REST framework. Okay, this is somewhat recent from March 10th. Let me zoom in here. Okay. Cores is da 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 da. Okay, so you need to add a middleware app. Okay, so basically I thought this was built into Django for some reason. Or you can use a well-tested package, Django cores headers, which works great with Django REST framework. Okay, so that is exactly what I'm going to do. So I can just install this package and then set it in my installed apps. And then I need to add it as a middleware. You can then either enable cores for all domains by adding the following setting, or enable cores for specific domains. I'll just add all domains. So it's basically these 4 steps. So let me stop my server. Okay, I stopped my Python server. And now I'm in my virtual environment, so I'm going to do pip install. Okay, that was quick. And now I'm going to add, I can't click with that mouse. So. Okay, cores headers to my installed apps. So I'm going to go into my settings.py and REST framework. So I'm going to put it after REST framework, but before my custom apps. Okay, so I added cores headers. Is it 3000? Is it 3000? Yeah, so on the front end is 3000 and the back end is 8000. So I am making the call to the back end from here to port 8000, which I have set here, localhost 8000, where the back end is running. And then yeah, I got confused for a second because the regular Vue, if I started this project with the Vue CLI, this would be port 8080, but Nuxt set it up on port 3000. Okay, so I have cores headers. What was the next step? I need to set up the middleware, right? Middleware, broken link emails, common middleware. Oh, so it's saying to do it before these Django middlewares. Okay, so I'll just put it at the top, I guess. Okay. And then I'm going to add this setting to my settings.py file. So I have URL config. I'm just going to add it here. And let me just make sure I don't have any other CORS settings. No, just the ones I've added. Okay. So now let me go ahead and run my server again. Python. Actually, let me do a pip freeze real quick. So add that dependency to my requirements.txt file. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, Django CORS headers. Cool. And now I will python manage.py and run server. Okay, the server's running again. The front end's running fine. Oh, it's warning me because I put my created lifecycle hook in the wrong spot. I'll move that. Okay, so before I close that page, I want to just make sure that, let's see if this works now. Okay. Maybe a hard refresh? Okay, well, I know it's not a CORS error now. The created property. Okay. Service worker. Okay, that's irrelevant. Connection. Those are all irrelevant errors, but I will go ahead and move my created just so it's not contentious anymore. Okay, so I think if I put it there, and then, all right. And now let's see, why isn't it, because it was getting, let's look at the network requests. So, okay, now it's getting back the JSON data. So maybe it's a problem in Vue. And let me look at the Vuex DevTools. So it's actually, oh, okay. It's nesting tasks here. It's nesting tasks inside of tasks. So what must be happening, let me go into, okay, so in my Vuex tasks file, I must be getting, let's see, maybe I'm getting data.tasks back here. Let me look at what I'm sending back in my API. So URLs, my views, let me look at my task views. So task.objects.all, and then let me look at my network request. I'm getting back, it seems to be just a list of items in the response. So yeah, it's just a list of items. It's not an object with a tasks key on it. So, okay, let me undo that. Then state.tasks should equal tasks. Then why is it going wrong? How do I debug this? So passing in tasks. So let me actually wait. So is this even getting called? Because I don't see config data. Okay, so it must be on, I must have to access it by data here. So Let me delete that. I'm gonna name this response. So let me name this response.data and see if that is my tasks in there. Let me just see what that does. No, so in the mutation, I see what you're saying, Elena. Axios returns. Oh, headers data? That would be really weird because in my other application I'm doing the same thing, unless I'm using a different version of Axios. But I see what you're saying, but because this is in a separate JS file, not in a Vue file, so I don't have this context. I just pass state into the mutation, so I can use state.tasks. And it is setting tasks. It's just setting it deeply nested inside. So let's see. So yeah, I guess I can pull data off, but that's the same thing I'm doing here, is the res object data. So I think what's happening, let me log this out to make it more clear. Let me just log out res, because I think it's res.tasks.data for some reason. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, tasks inside of tasks. Okay, so here's the object, and then I have data, which is the array inside of that res object, which is exactly the data that I want. So yeah, it is res.data. So you're right though, I could pull off data from the response instead of doing it here and see if that works, better. Why is it setting this to tasks though? Let's see, because I have state.tasks and state.tasks here. Wait, so what am I actually getting? And how come it's not showing a mutation here in my Vuex store? Does anyone know why it's not showing the mutation? Because it should be calling this commit set and passing in data, but the mutation's never getting called, or at least not in my Vuex dev tools. Let me see if it logs out anything. Oops. Okay, so it is logging out. It's logging out the correct array, but in my Vuex dev tools, is there a way to maybe I need to refresh? Oh, that's really weird. How come it's not showing my mutations? Hi Wallet, how are you? This is the strangest thing. And it did it again. So now I have why is it setting a tasks object? Because even in here, when I log that out, it's an array. And then I'm just setting it equal to state.tasks. Maybe set as a name is the problem. So set in JavaScript, is set a reserved word? Because we don't have sets in JavaScript. I could try something else. So set tasks. Okay, and then I could just change it here. So set tasks. Okay, I refreshed my DevTools and okay, so it's logging out okay. Why is it setting an object inside here? See, how else can I debug it? Because this is an array, and then this winds up being an object in my state. So let me just check the type of tasks. Oh yeah, it will tell me an object anyway, because an array is a type of object, right? So I'd have to do instance of, or tasks. What is it? Tasks instance of array. I think it's that. Oh, it doesn't like this at all. Oh, use array is array instead of instance of. Okay. That's good. It told me what to do. Wait, what was it again? Array.isArray. Okay. So array.isArray and then pass it tasks. All right. JavaScript is funny. True. Okay, yeah. I already knew that because I saw it in the console, but I just feel like I'm going crazy sometimes, so I just checked it. Okay, so if I'm passing in an array, can anyone tell me why this is then an object? I mean, the only other thing I can think to do is console.log state coming into this set tasks and see what it is. An object with tasks and an array. Oh, okay, so maybe it's getting set somewhere else? I wonder if it's getting set somewhere else afterwards. So, but I mean, where else would that mutation get set? Unless maybe Nuxt is handling this some other way. Okay, so anyway, I have the right thing on state. I think that maybe my Vuex store here, let me reopen this. I feel like my Vue DevTools is out of sync here. Well, it says it's not. Oh, I'm so dumb. I am so dumb. This is... I can't believe I spent this long on this. Okay, this tasks object is the namespace. It's the namespace for the tasks array. Man, okay. That's what I get for naming them both the same thing. This tasks array is inside of the tasks namespace. Oh man. Okay, and that's why I have to map tasks here and why the list isn't showing up. Okay, I'm not crazy. That was just, yeah, a mishap or whatever. Okay, now in my loop, my v-for loop in my DOM, I need to update that. Okay, tasks. Oops, what did I do? Okay. Sweet. Awesome. Okay, and now it's showing my task. The name just isn't uh, showing up. So let me get rid of this. Hi JP, how are you? Oh, I'm so happy I figured that out. Thanks, Selena. Okay. Um, oh yeah, so what's showing up in my DOM? Where is the name? Okay, so it's to-do.text. This was just like my temporary front end thing. But in my back end, in my database, I have an actual model for this. So for each task, I have the user ID associated with the task, the title, and the description. So let's see. I guess I'll show the title there. So I'll show to do dot title. Sweet, awesome. And now it shows up just as before. And oh, I can't edit it because oops, that's going crazy. All right, I can't do the CRUD operations now, but it shows up. And now let me change the add new task and set up this input box so it actually saves in the database. And since users aren't logging in yet, I think I'm just gonna have to use like some default user ID, maybe 1 or something. Okay, so add task. This dot add and pass in the new task. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna change text to title, and then I'll search for text. Okay, I'm gonna have to change all these texts. So let's see. Not the text fields. This one, okay. So I'm going to have to do title. So eventually they'll be able to add a description, but for right now they can just add the title of the task. So I'm going to call it title, and then in the add task method, I'm going to say this.add and pass in that whole editing task. Okay, well that's in the future then. Oh, I got confused with editing. Okay, so new task will be the title. And I'm passing in this.new task. So now I need a way to save it in the database. And let's see, how should I do this? So I should do async. And I guess since I'm calling this get all tasks, I'm going to say post new task for that. And then input or use commit. Okay. And then this will be in await axios.get. And actually, I will want to get the data, the response.data from this as well. Okay, because I'm going to want the ID of the task that's going to be created in the Postgres database. Okay, so I'm doing axios.get. By the way, how is the stream today? Because I got a gigabit fiber internet and I was testing the upload speed before this, and it was almost 700 megs upload speed from my laptop. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm hoping it doesn't drop anymore. Yeah, so let me know how the stream's going. Much better. Awesome. Oh, by the way, so I found out if you don't know, 5G is like the new towers they're installing everywhere. Testing delay. Okay. There's also a delay in my response. So there's a 1 second or 2 second delay with me, and then there's a delay with YouTube as well. Oh, but the 5G towers. So Verizon and other companies are installing all these 5G towers, and cool. And apparently in the summertime and springtime, when all the trees bloom and they get their leaves, it blocks a lot of the signal. So you have much better internet on the 5G network in the winter than in the summer. And they did not tell me that when they were installing it. 5G give you corona. Okay. Okay, what was I doing? Oh yeah, so API call. 5. Oh, because you're hearing the dot sound. 5.5 seconds, that's much better. And the stream's not dropping. And I will get on Twitch someday and reduce that time to 1 to 2 seconds. Okay. All right, so post, I'll also be posting to the tasks endpoint for creating a new task. Okay. And then I'm gonna commit this add, basically. So I'm gonna commit to add a new task because I want to do this on the front end instead of pulling all of the new tasks all over again, because it'll be much faster. Yes, get on Twitch. I will be on Twitch soon. I've been snooping around other Twitch streamers trying to figure out the platform, and also my streaming software sets up nicely with Twitch, so I'm happy about that. I just can't do both at the same time, so I'm gonna do some things on Twitch and some things on YouTube. Okay, so commit, add, and actually now I can do set again. I think I'm going to do set instead of, because that's not a reserved word in JavaScript, as far as I know, unless someone wants to tell me otherwise. Because JavaScript doesn't have sets. Okay, and then I'm going to pass in, well, no, first of all, I get a payload here, which is the task, the specific task that I'm posting. So I'm going to pass through the payload. I'm also going to be adding the data ID onto the payload. And then in Axios, the second parameter here is, oh wait, let me go back, is the task that I want to post. So I'm going to send in the payload. And then the third parameter would be headers, if I wanted to set any headers, I think. JS does have sets, really? So does it work the same way as Python, where you can pass in a list and you get the unique items? It's basically a unique list, maybe? Oh, anyways, JavaScript would have uppercase set, whereas Python. Oh, cool. That's awesome, though. That's good to know. That's a really nice, convenient feature to have. Okay, so I'm passing in the new task that I'm posting, so that should get saved properly if I set up my API properly. And I'm getting the data back, so the data should contain an ID. So, actually, I don't know if it does or not. So let me console.log out data first and see what exactly that is. Okay. Array.from new set. Oh, that's awesome. So it's basically the same thing as Python, except slightly more verbose. All right, so I'm going to see what I get back from this post. And then post new task. I'm going to add this to my add task function. So instead of calling the mutation directly like I was before, I'm going to call the action. So I'm going to, add this to actions, and I'm going to get rid of it in mutations. Okay. And let's see if that works. I'm probably missing a few things. Oh, actually also this .new task is only a string right now. So I need to make this into an object actually first. So let me do some housekeeping here. Because I need to pass in an object anyway. The API is not going to be happy. So let's see, new task, and then I'll have title, description, and then what was the other thing I needed? User. So I think I need to, I can't remember if I'm supposed to do user ID or user, but let me just try one or the other and see what happens. I'm just gonna hard code it for now. So user ID is 1. Oops. And then if it complains, I'll do something else. Okay, so now I need to vmodel this. Okay, vmodel task.title. I feel like back in 2015, 2016, I was keeping up so regularly with every JavaScript update, probably like through 2018, and then I just got burned out with following all the proposals and updates and stuff. So I definitely need to dig through that again and the ECMAScript updates. Okay. I could do it on a live stream, but that would be a really boring live stream, I think. Oh yeah, I'm vmodeling. That's what I need to do. So editing task.title. Text field vmodel. Okay, so this is for editing. I need the add new task one. So new task, and I'm going to say dot title. That's what I need. Okay, so let's see. And then I have title, and then this dot new task should be the whole object that I'm passing in, and then I'm receiving it as a payload in tasks.js, and then I'm passing that into Axios. Oh, Axios.post. That should be a post request. Okay, cool. Awesome. And then I'll see what I get back. Of course, I can see that in the network request anyway if I have my thing open, my console. Data is assigned a value but never used. I mean, all right. It's complaining, so I'll get rid of it. All right. Also, tasks. I can't believe I don't have a checked or completed flag there. Let me just see real quick if I have it in my API. So let me go to my web backend, because in my README I document my schemas here. So for task, oh yeah, I guess I forgot that I have the due date but not the completed. That was an oversight. So let me update this README real quick. Description, so below description I'm gonna add completed, which will be a Boolean. Okay. Anyway, okay, close that. All right, so I'm gonna have to update my migrations and everything in a second for my backend. But let me see if this post new task works. So let me refresh here. Get rid of that. And I'm going to just add a new task, click enter. Request failed. All right, let me go to network. See why it failed. Response. Oh, this field may not be blank. User. So instead of user ID, I think I do need user. The reason why I always get confused about that is because, so in my model I call it user, but when what is it? Oh yeah, Django maps this to the database. The field or the column in the database is called user underscore ID, so it handles that for me. But I guess I just have to pass it in as user. All right, so now let me refresh, enter a new task, still get 400. This field may not be blank. Oh, description. Why can't description be blank? Okay, that's another thing I have to change. So description, I set nullable to true, so I'm not quite sure why it can't be blank. I'm gonna have to fix that. So let me see. I'm gonna go dive into the back end. Yeah, have a good night. What time is it here? It's almost 7 p.m. here. Maybe default equals blank equals true. Okay, yeah, that's probably better than making it a nullable field, is making it blank. Okay, thanks. Yeah, and then I'll set a default, so that will populate anything I have in the database already. Okay. Not sure why my linting isn't complaining right now, but that's fine, I guess. Or maybe because I'm zoomed in so much. That's why these lines look longer. Okay, so I updated this. So since I'm updating this model, I mean, I might as well add completed here, which will be models dot Boolean field, and then default equals false. Yeah, and then I won't add the due date or something. That'll be in a future update. Okay, so, and I think I have that scheduled for version 1.1 of this app or something like that. All right, now I'm going to go back into my Python and I'm going to have to update that database table. So I'm going to do python manage.py. Let's see. Oh yeah, make migrations first. And then it generated this new migrations file for me. So I added description and completed, which is good. Yep, it looks good. And now let me do python manage.py and migrate. Oops, migrate. To apply the migration to the database. And now I will do run server again. Okay. 1 a.m. in Holland. Wow. It's crazy that we're so global now that, you know, we have people from India and Europe and Africa and Americas everywhere watching the same live stream. Okay. Now let me see if this works. Sweet. Sweet. What happened though? Oh wait, why is it erroring now? It's not liking something. Okay. Oh, it says it right here. Cool. Oh, I guess when I'm something about this add task, maybe that doesn't work. Let's see. In here. So maybe add, oh yeah. So this add isn't working properly because I'm saying I'm only passing text, but really this text is an object here. So I'm gonna rename this to task. Yeah, and then basically I'm gonna, I guess, call it task, but I also need what's coming back from this post request. So let me see, because I want the ID. Wow. That's not what I want. Okay, let me post another task real quick. So let me post one called read. Good night. Ghana, how's everything in Ghana? Are you guys still on lockdown? We're pretty much free to do whatever we want in the US right now, but we're thinking we're going to be back on lockdown in maybe another month. We'll see. Well, not another month, but when is September? Like 3 months, I guess. Okay, sweet. So the response is the object. Okay, cool. So now I get, wait, the response doesn't contain the task ID from the database. Do I need the task ID? Yes, I do, because I'm going to have this /URL. And I also need it because when I make update requests to the task, if I want to patch it or change that one task, I need the ID. So why isn't the backend returning the task ID? Why isn't it doing that? Let me look at my views. So, okay, so my task serializer, the fields title, description, user, created at, updated at. So I need to put ID here, I guess. So let me put ID. Lots of social restrictions. Yeah, I guess it's the same here. I was at UPS in the store and they're still doing the 6 feet distance. I don't know how many meters that is, but basically like 2 arms lengths from everybody else. Okay. Okay, what do I want? Oh, let me add another task. So go, why is it erroring? That's weird. I'm gonna have to figure out why that is later. Go for a run. Okay, it seems to add just fine. Now let me see what got returned for this. Nope, it still didn't return the ID. So maybe I need to let me try restarting the server for the backend and see if it's returning the ID now. Because I need this task ID. Okay, so now let me clear that and add another task. Okay, the post request went through, and now, but it's still only returning the title, user, description. So it doesn't return these other fields basically. And let's see. Query set serializer. I'm gonna have to look in the docs and see why. So Django REST framework return ID field from API. Not ID field, but I guess ID, or just return ID. How can I serialize model name and instance values? Nope, that's not at all what I want. Let me try Google, see if I get better results. Returning ID value after object creation is exactly what I want. All right, so I'm using Django REST Framework generic views to create objects in a post model request. That's exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so in their serializer, they have the ID under fields. Okay. Inherits model serializer as well as your view inherits from generics. So when a post request is made to the view, it should return the ID as well as all the attributes. That's not really helpful. It took me a few minutes to parse this answer when I had the same problem. Okay, the generic view, the API view, does return the created object. This is also clear from the documentation. Take a look at the client side. I mean, it's not, the problem isn't on my client side because, okay, let me add the ID back in here. So let me put the ID back. And now let me go here. Okay, so it is returning the ID now from the API. Okay, so maybe it is my client side that's just messing with me. Let me do a hard refresh. And I don't know. I've run out of tasks. All right, so I posted a new task and yeah, the request payload is only giving me title, description, and user. So, let me get rid of that log and let me do log out the data and see if this is somehow different than what's in my network tab in the browser, because in this client, this API test client, I'm getting exactly what I want. And then when I go to my front end, I'm not getting all the fields back. So why is it doing that? I don't know. Let's see. Okay. All right, I'm just refreshing for good measure. Now let me do kitten. Okay. And I'm getting it. Okay, sweet. Yeah, okay. I am getting it back. So my network request is just deceiving me for some reason. All right, so I'm getting back everything that I want to get back. So what I'm gonna do then is just use data, pass data into this add, and that way the task will have the ID and it will also have created at, updated at, because I might use that for filtering on the front end. Even though for filtering I'll probably make an API call, but you know, I'll need it at some point anyway. Sorting maybe. Okay, cool. So I have it where you can add a task. That's great. Now I need to be able to edit and delete tasks. So let me see if I can send a delete request to tasks, and let me take ID 8. Oh wait, I have more now. So let me take, yeah, I'll take ID 8. Get rid of dishes. So here, I'm going to do ID 8. And then let me see if I can get, oh yeah, I can make a delete request on this. So I can do delete. Okay, so delete requests work. And now I shouldn't get anything back. Yeah, detail not found. Okay, so I have delete requests working at the API. So let me just, yeah, hook that up. So I'm gonna make another action, and I'm gonna call this delete task. And this will be in axios.delete. And then I don't need to pass in a payload, but I will need to do the, or use slash the task ID. So let's see. I guess I'll just pass in ID directly. So task slash task ID, and I'm gonna make a delete request on that, and then remove. So I'll need to remove based off of the index, but actually I won't have an index value anymore. I'm not going to be just passing in an index to delete. So I'm going to have to do find based off the ID in this array and then splice it out of the array. So I can find index by ID here, and I'm going to say ID. Okay, so I'll fix this in a second. And here, remove. All right. And so await axios.delete this API URL task slash ID. So now I need to call delete task and then pass in the ID of the task I want to delete. So in my methods, I have add task, edit task. Oh yeah, I was calling remove directly, but now I won't be doing that. So let me get rid of this. Okay, and let me do let's say add task, edit task. I guess I'll call it remove task. And then here, oh wait, here, I'm gonna do delete task. Let me put this on a new line. Okay. Okay, so remove task, and then I'll have to call this dot delete task from here. And wow, it's been an hour and 14 minutes already. Okay, so I'll probably do another 15 minutes, try to get this wrapped up anyway. So I'm going to call this dot delete task, and I need to pass in the task ID. So let's see. How am I going to do that? So I have let's see where I was calling remove from one of my icons. Okay, that's cancel edit. Oh yeah, the delete icon. I used to be calling remove And now I'm going to be calling remove task. Oops. I don't know why I keep doing that. Because I missed my escape key because now I'm used to the other keyboard. Okay, so I'm calling remove task, and let's see. I'm passing in the index, but I want to pass in the ID. So I think if I do to do, actually, why am I calling this to do? Let me call it task in tasks. To do doesn't make any sense. Now I just have to change this. So task in task. And now I can pass in, let's say, task dot ID, which I think is correct. Task ID is not defined. Oh, right. So I'm going to be passing this in. So this is the parameter. So I'm going to add task ID here. So now it's defined. So it should get rid of my errors. Data is assigned a value but never used. Really? Okay. I'm just going to log it out then. So I have it in case I need it. Or I might just remove it. I don't know. Okay. So now I'm removing the task. Let me see what happens. Empty string. So, okay, network request. I did the delete. And I think I deleted walk dog, right? Was that what I deleted? Let's see. Yep, it did delete. It worked. Sweet. So yeah, I don't need this. Let me get rid of that. Okay. But I will need the ID. So now I have to fix it in my, it's still in my front end until I refresh. Yeah, so now I need to splice it out in my Vuex. So let me update this remove. So first I'm going to take state, I don't want to, oh yeah, so I will do state dot find, let's see, state dot, why can't, I'm having a total brain fart here. So state dot, I don't want filter because I don't want an array returned. What are all those JavaScript array find methods? There's find in the array that satisfies a testing function. This is probably what I want, is find. But actually I want to find the index. Yeah, that's what I want. So find index. Okay, and then that will take a function, and then let's see how it recommends I write this. So element, and then return whatever stipulation. So element, oh wait, this has to be tasks. So state.tasks.find, and then this will be task. Then, okay, so return, I'm going to return when task.id equals ID. Index of, oh yeah, that checks the index. But I don't know the index yet, so I need to find the index. So now I can do, let's say const index equals, yeah, find index, because I'm going to return the index of that. And now I can tasks.splice based off the index. So I've found the task, now I'm splicing it out. And let me see if this works. So, okay, so let me 1 second, I'm losing my voice. All right. So let me delete kittens. Yes, sweet. Okay. So it's splicing out, it's deleting. Yeah, maybe I'll add a spinner later, but for right now, I think that's pretty good. All right, so what time? That was only 5 minutes to get the delete working. So now let me see if I can do edit. So, oh, there's already an error. So I can't click on edit. It throws an error. Yeah, thanks for the help. Where is edit? So here's edit. I'm gonna need to make a new action to edit a task from the back end. So I have get all tasks, post new tasks, delete task, and I'm gonna call this async. Since I seem to be using HTTP method names for these, I'm gonna call it patch task, and then make a patch request. So I'm passing a payload object here, and so this will be await Axios dot patch, and I don't think I need to store the data here because I'll already have the task and the fields I've updated in the front end, so I don't need to pull anything from the back end really. Except when I start error handling, thanks. When I start error handling, I will need to do try catches or I don't know, make some kind of service or middleware or something. I haven't gotten that far. Okay, so patch task. So let me, and then I'll be calling edit here. So I'll be calling edit and then passing in the payload. Okay. So this will be the same as the other calls. So I'll need API URL and then /tasks. And then I will need the ID again because I'll be patching a specific task. So I'll have to do that. And since I don't have the trailing /, I'm going to take it off of all of these to make it the same. Okay. So now I have this patch task method, and I'm going to need to be passing in this payload. And let me see, actually, so with Django, let me see what Django REST framework, what I guess get post head options. Let me see what HTTP methods they're allowing right now. So let me look at a specific task. I'll take task 7. So let me go to task 7 here. And okay, get put patch delete head option. So it's already allowing patch, which is good. And then eventually, if I'm not using put here, I might not allow that. But we'll see, because that would overwrite the whole task, and I don't see myself doing that. Okay, so patch task, Axios.patch request to the ID, pass in a payload. So that appears as though it's going to work. But let me pull it into the front end here and do patch task. And then in edit task, I'm going to edit. Oh, okay. So this is just creating that edit box and then saving. This is where I actually call the official edit. So let's see. So here, instead of edit, I'll be calling patch task. Okay. And then I'll be passing in the editing task here, which eventually will have the rest of this stuff. But for right now, I don't need the index anymore, except this is only for the front end, I guess, for what I'm doing internally in this component. Editing task. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this way or not, because I don't want to pass that index to the back end. So I could do something quick and dirty here and say, is it delete? Is it remove? Delete. Appears to be delete. And then delete. No, I don't want to mutate this component state directly. So I'm going to save, let's say let this dot edit. No. What am I doing? This dot updated task equals this dot editing task, and then I can do delete ID. What do you mean ID? Because so the index is, yeah, why do I need the index? Edit task. I think why was I saving the index of the task? I think it was just so I could pass it to the backend, but you're right. Maybe I should save the ID now. Okay. Yeah, because I will need to pass in the ID anyway. Here, because... Alright, so let me remake the payload then and pull off of payload. So you're right. Thank you. So I need to pull off the AD, and then I'll have the task too. Or maybe it won't be a complete task, so I'll call it task data. Or updated task, or I don't know. Task data, I guess, is fine. And then I'll pull that off of payload. And then I'll need to, yeah, so here, editing task. So what I'll do here is actually, I guess I'll set this equal to an empty object. And then when they call edit task, I'm gonna, yeah, set it equal to the task. Okay, so they'll pass in the index of the task, and then I'll have the editing task. Let's see if this is right. I won't need to store the index after that, because all I'm going to do is look up this dot tasks, look up the specific task that I want, and then set it equal to that task object. So now I have the whole task object with ID and everything, which will be set as editing task. Okay, and then if, so I guess if, because right now I'm checking for index, editing task.index, but now I'll be doing editing task.id equals task.id. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, so I'm going to check in the loop. So meaning if the current task is being edited, then show that item. Oh, I have errors. Okay. updated task is never reassigned. Let's see. Where am I using updated task? Oh yeah, right here. So now I don't need this delete anymore. And now I actually don't need any of this. So now I can pass in this .editing task directly because it's just the task properties. Task data is assigned a value but never used. Oh right, so I need to actually, instead of payload here, I'm going to pass in task data. And now I have to adjust this too. So because I don't want to pass in the ID. Hi Kim. Nobody's, I guess he's been pretty busy with work and stuff lately. Yeah, but hopefully he's back in the live stream soon. Now I need to remake my payload here because I want to separate the ID from the rest of the task, because when I send it over to the back end, I don't want to send the ID in the payload because I'm not overwriting the ID. And I think it's going to throw an error if I try to do that. So what I want to do here is set the payload's ID to this .editing task.id, and then set the task data to this .editing. No, because I want it minus the ID. I want everything except the ID. Well, I'm just going to have to do a delete then. This .editing task. Okay, and then I'm going to do a delete. And if there's a cleaner way to do that, then somebody help me. Okay, so then I'll delete. No, I don't need this. I just need payload dot task data dot ID, because I don't want the ID inside of task data. I just want the ID outside of it. Okay. That should work. Except, okay, and let me go ahead and clean this up. So all I want here is editing task to be once again an empty object. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let me just try this and see what happens if I can patch. Okay, so that's good. When I hit edit, it comes up with this input field. Oh, now it tries to check something off. I'm gonna have to fix that event propagation in a second. So let me say oh, and now it's erroring. Okay, so it has something to do with events that is not liking. V text field. Key down, key up, input. Let me go back to tasks. And click edit. Now let me clear. Okay. So I clicked in the input. Okay, as soon as I do a key down, it errors. Am I getting an error? Oh, it's saying that's a warning. So the error is, if you can see it, it says Vuex, do not mutate Vuex store state outside of mutation handlers. Where am I doing that? I must be double naming something. So, oh, right. This. I think it's this. So in edit task, I'm setting editing task equal to this particular task object, but I'm not copying it. So it's pointing to the same object, I think. So let me try that. Make a copy of it. So they're pointing to two different objects in memory. And let me see if that works. We'll see. Okay, so let me click edit again. Yeah, that works. Sweet. So it was just because it was pointing to the same object, so I was actually mutating state without knowing about it. And now let me click on this check mark, and request failed with status code 500. So let's see. Oh, because I'm passing an undefined. Let's see. I'm calling task/undefined. So my ID must be undefined here. So let me click on this again. Let me go into my Vuex DevTools and see. Oh no, I'll need to go into my component DevTools. And sorry, if you haven't heard me mention this before, the Firefox Vue DevTools doesn't let me zoom in. I think they still don't. Yeah, see the rest of the DevTools, I can zoom in and out, but the Vue DevTools, you can't zoom in and out in Firefox. Not sure why. Okay, so let me go into my component under V content, pages, tasks, index, this page. Okay. So I have new task, which is a description, title, and user ID. And then editing task. Okay, so new task is irrelevant. So editing task, I do have an ID, and I have all of these things. So why is ID? Oh, because I'm still passing in this .editing task instead of my new payload. Okay, okay. There we go. So this passing in the payload, now I should have the ID there. Let's see if that works. Okay, so let me edit just any of these. So read a book. Now let me click the check mark, and what just happened? Let's look at network. So I still get a 500. Okay, well at least it's passing the ID. The URL doesn't have a slash, doesn't end in a slash, and you have append/set. You can't redirect. Oh, okay, so it wants that trailing slash. Oh wait, let me open that back up. All right, cool. Then I'll just add the trailing slash. I'm not sure why it worked for the other ones. All right, it's not a big deal though. I'll just append the slashes. All right. Okay, now let me see if patch works. Read a book. Click check. Okay, well, oops. Where did it go? Here. All right, so response. Okay, so it worked. And so if I refresh, let me go into tasks. So if I refresh here, you can see it updated to read a book. Cool. And now I'm not sure why the front end just did this. Okay, there's no relevant error, so I'll have to debug that and see why it did that. Okay, but the back end updated just fine. Sweet. All right, so I have to wrap up the stream here. I got, I guess, most of the CRUD operations working. I still need to be able to check off these, which all I'll have to do is switch the Boolean completed. So I might just use that. I'll use the same patch request actually for those. Yeah, so I'll need to wrap that up next stream. Where is my, here it is. So I'm gonna update the code real quick. So in my dev tasks projects, let's see, hookup checkboxes. So that will be part of the post request. Hookup CRUD operations in Vuex options. Man, these really aren't that detailed. I'm gonna put this in done, and I'm gonna update the details on this in a second. Thank you. Thank you, Army Indo. All right, so I'm going to update the details on these and add some more tasks in here. The last thing I'm going to do is push the code. I'm going to have to push the front end and the back end. So let me do a git status. And I have this new migrations file, so I'm going to go ahead and add, yeah. Oh, PyCache. Man, am I really committing PyCache again? I'm going to have to undo those PyCaches. But let's see. What was it? Git. I can't remember how to remove from Git. What was that command? Remove file from tracking. Yeah, remove cached. So Git remove cache on each file as long as you're Git update. Okay, I don't think, yeah, I'm just gonna remove the cached. So man, why was I tracking those in the first place? I must have not set up my git ignore correctly the first time. So 1 second, let me clear this. And now git remove cached. And now this apps slash, what is it? Slash tasks slash pycache. Tasks slash pycache. Recursively, oh, because it's a folder. Okay, so -r. Okay, so I removed all these from git tracking. And now let me do another git status. Cool, so this is exactly what I want. Those modified files. So now I will do a git add and a git commit code from Livestream on June 12th. Git push. And oh, I updated the README, so I have to pull that first. Good enough for the commit message, and now I can do a git push. Okay, and now I'll have to do the same thing on the front end. Check it out first. I already have a good git ignore, so don't see anything weird in here. So git commit, and now on the front end, I'll do code from Livestream on June 12th. So the same commit message, and now I'll do push. Oh yeah, I have to pull in the README changes as well. Okay, now I can do git push. Awesome, sweet. So that's all the code we wrote today. The stream was so much better with my new internet. I'm so happy about that. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you have any suggestions for more streams or you want to chat further, you should join my Discord. There's a Discord link in the description below, and feel free to leave a comment, feedback, whatever you think about the stream. I'll be live again Sunday for a special hackathon building a Django REST API for this special school project that I really need to get done. So I'll be trying to kind of build from beginning to end this Django REST API on Sunday. So yeah, thanks. I'll see you Sunday. Take care.